Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Habitat Insights with Imani. Today is a special episode because I am joined by Trevor Loomis, who not only is our president and CEO here at Indian River Habitat, he is also a Purple Heart recipient and he has served 3 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. And you might be wondering why this information is particularly poignant, and that is because today's episode is all about our veterans. And we thought Trevor would be the perfect person to join us today. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into today's conversation. So Trevor, what inspired you to enlist in the service anyhow?
Well, it was one of those things that I was always interested in. By the way, I just want to say I'm really glad to do this. This has become a big deal. I feel like I'm on the Today Show or something. So thanks for having me. So when I was a kid, I was always interested in the military and in serving. I had a cousin who was the oldest of our group of cousins, and he was an officer in the Army. And so I always thought, of course, he was like, somebody I looked up to, and I was always interested in that. Nobody in my family served in the military other than me, and in my immediate family. And it was something that I was always kind of interested in and intrigued in. But I didn't do it right away. I didn't leave high school and join the Army or anything like that. I got out of high school and I worked for probably 4 or 5 years before I finally ended up enlisting in the Army. I looked at all the different services and settled on the Army. I'm not sure why, but it's the best one, so that's why I chose it. And it was just I wanted to serve my country, and I wanted the opportunity that comes along with military service as well. I grew up in a really rural town, in farm country, and not a lot of opportunity, not a lot of chances for exciting things to happen. And so I thought, joining the Army and riding in tanks and jumping out of helicopters sounded exciting. So I made that choice, and it turned into quite an adventure. For almost 10 years of my life, I did that and got to go a lot of places, see a lot of things, and do a lot of things. And I've met some incredible people along the way. And it was really an opportunity and experience that changed and molded my life, and influenced my life into what it is now.
Okay. And you kind of touched on a few things of which being adventure and excitement and whatnot. And so certainly here at Habitat, we have a different sort of adventure on a day-to-day basis. So beyond the obvious, what are some similarities and differences between serving the affiliate versus serving your country?
Well, this work is easier, I would say. 42-year-old me might not go back and make the same choice that I made at 22.
Sure.
But I'm a little older and a little slower now. I'm not sure about wiser, but it is similar, right? It's an opportunity to serve people, to serve my community, and that's kind of why I've always been drawn to it. It's more about an opportunity to do something for others and to provide others with chances and opportunities that I didn't get without joining the military, right? So I think that because of my military service, I was able to go to college, and I was able to become the first person in my family to graduate from college. Because of my military service, I became eligible for a VA home loan, which was the way that I bought my first house. And so, at Habitat, we like to give people opportunities without maybe having to go to war. But it's, that's one of the things that I really like, is just helping people, grow and have new opportunities where they couldn't necessarily achieve them on their own.
Do you think there was anything that you took away from your time in the service that you've brought to Habitat?
Well, certainly, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of lessons as far as brought to Habitat or that I just use in my regular life. I think that, veterans tend to be a very resilient bunch. Because let's face it, when someone has shot at you and things are blowing up, a rough day at the office doesn't seem so rough, right? It's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I certainly have that. I am pretty calm and patient. I think a lot of that is because of those military experiences. It's discipline. I think one of the things that we really see with veterans more than a lot of other people is discipline and the ability to, regardless of your circumstances, to take something on and really make sure that it gets done. That's like, number one thing in the military is, here's your mission. You're going to get it done regardless, no matter what the obstacles are. You figure out a way to get it done. So I think that is something that I probably still do. I don't know if I would have that without my time in the military or not, but those are the things that I really, gravitate to, are that sort of discipline and resilience that really come, through the experience and the trials that you go through as a member of the military.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of the main things that we do here at Habitat is we're fighting to ensure a world where everyone has access to affordable and sustainable homeownership opportunities. Now that you have been our CEO for a little over 2 years now, I think, anytime that we can sit you down to ask you why the need is so great, we like to take advantage of. So what have you noticed since being the CEO of Habitat from when you first started to where you are now? How has the need changed, or what is especially important for people to know now?
Well, I think that what's really changed, when I got here 2 years ago, I walked into an area where there's a tremendous housing crisis going on. There's not enough affordable housing for the number of people who need it. The cost of rentals and the cost to purchase a home in this area in particular have really gotten out of reach of people, of normal working people. Mm-hmm. And there are not very many people here, unless maybe they've owned their home for a couple of decades, who are not feeling the crunch. It's affecting everybody. It's affecting renters. It's affecting homeowners because of insurance and taxes. Any number of different things. Anyone who wants to buy a house, interest rates are so high right now that it's almost unattainable. Mm-hmm. So 2 years ago, it was really the housing crisis was really ramping up, and not a lot of people really knew or understood. And I think the biggest difference now is the problem is not any better, but I think that the awareness is much better. If you were to ask just about anybody, they're going to acknowledge that yes, there is a problem with a lack of affordable housing. Mm-hmm. And so I think people understand that it's not just a problem that some people are experiencing. It's affecting everybody. Right. So regardless of who you are, what you do for a living, where you work, if you're retired, if you're young, if you're old, if you live here, the housing problem is affecting you because, even if you can afford your own housing, the fact that businesses here who rely on employees to function are having a hard time, keeping people here, recruiting people to fill their positions. They're having to pay them more in order to stay here or to get them to, commute from down south or up north. And so, you're going to see a lack of people working in the service industry. And so if you want to go out to eat, it's going to take longer. Mm-hmm. The service may suffer. If you, any number of places, those additional costs that the businesses are facing, they're getting passed on to the customer. And so, we've been in a period of outrageous inflation, but I would argue that a lot of that inflation is driven by the housing crisis and the lack of affordable housing, because it is most people's largest monthly expense, usually by a lot. Mm-hmm. And so when that is out of control, and when the cost of housing is growing exponentially, the pain and the inflationary pain is felt by everybody. And so I think that the awareness is definitely increased over the last 2 years to the point that, we are really starting to get traction on some of the work that we're doing, and starting to get support from places where it didn't exist before, to help our efforts to increase our housing production. Indian River Habitat is really the largest, maybe only affordable housing developer in Indian River County. Certainly the only one doing a large volume. Last year, I think we served nearly 120 families, with new homes and home repair. And so we're doing everything we can to increase, our production, especially our new home production. We have 3 subdivisions in the works that we're currently developing. We have plans to do 113 homes over the next 5 years. The repair program is on pace to serve over 100 families this year. So I think that the awareness really helps. People understand that affordable housing is not a dirty word, it is necessary. And that housing affordability isn't something that is, for poor people. It is for everyone. Everyone needs and deserves a place of shelter that they can afford. And so that's the problem that we're trying to address. And I think that people really understand the importance of that and are really being supportive of that.
Definitely. And I know for our home repair program, I saw this number earlier that 20% of all the families that we serve in the home repair program are veteran-headed households. So I thought that was a very interesting data point to focus on, because most of them are living on a fixed income, our veterans that we serve. And so if they need a roof repair urgently, or they risk losing their homeowner's insurance, they're able to come to us and we're able to help them tremendously afford those things. So that was interesting too to bring up.
And I think the serving the veteran population with home repair is a really important thing. We don't work with a lot of veterans through our home ownership program. And I think the reason for that is that veterans are eligible for VA home loans, which are a great product. That's what I have on my own house. And that allows veterans to more easily attain home ownership than some other groups. The issue becomes, there are a lot of veterans who are not as fortunate as I am, who are not blessed like I am to be, have completed their service and then to be able to go on and have a good career and all of that. There are people who deal with, trauma and disability and things like that are related to their military service, that carry that on for many, many years after they've served in the military. And we believe that it's really important to offer a lifeline to those families to help them, to help those veterans not stay in their homes, right? And so, VA benefits, if that's what someone is surviving on, it's not going to get you very far down the road. And so we are really happy that over the years, I believe we've served, somewhere around 120 veteran households with critical home repair. Over the years, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but in most cases, there's no repayment on those loans. So we are able to, through various philanthropic sources, and our partner, the Veterans Council of Indian River County, we're able to make those home repair projects at no cost to the veteran household. So it's really a great opportunity for us to serve the people who have served our country, and to help them, have affordable housing throughout the rest of their lives.
Great. And to that end, before we end today's conversation, I just wanted to quickly say thank you so much to every single service person who has, and their families, who has dedicated the families. I can't even imagine that emotional toll as well, who have sacrificed their lives for this country. And if you or somebody who is a veteran who is in need of home repairs or assistance in that way, please visit our website. You can also reach out to Karen Bryant, the home repair manager, and she'll be able to help you as well. So Trevor, thank you so much for chatting with us today. I know your schedule is incredibly busy, but we appreciate your insight.
Thank you, Imani.
See you guys next time for another episode of Habitat Insights with Imani.